Happy Friday, May 12th. Perfect start today. No stumbling over the words, at least not yet. That's good. People seem to enjoy yesterday's debauchery by me. Uh, anyway, it's I had an eventful morning, actually. I'm going to add Doug in here in just a second, and I will get into it. We're starting early today. It's 10:30, so if you're a norm or not a normal guest, if you happen to just be here for the first time because we're doing it at this slightly different time, we usually do this at 11 a.m. Eastern time every single day. You're always welcome to join us. I've just pinned on Instagram the link to YouTube, which is youtube.com/NoMeatAthlete. Same goes for Facebook if you're over there. Keep on dancing there, Doug, and I'll finish this sentence up. Anyway, go over to YouTube if you're on one of those other platforms because we tend to like it better on YouTube, and you will too. All right, Doug, you got a little dance going there. Looks like a man about to go to the theater, except you're not dressed up. You're not dressed to the nines. I thought you'd be all formal.
No formal wear for this theater event, but I am very prepared. I am excited for kindergarten performance of the decade.
Okay, what is the production that they will be doing?
I don't know what it's called. It's something about trees and seasons. It's a book about leaves falling on different seasons, and
okay,
so
not Les Mis or something like that. Not a
not Les Mis. No
Hamilton.
No Guys and Dolls or Fiddler on the Roof.
Not the Back to the Future Broadway production, which I really wish I could see.
Back to the Future. No.
Okay.
This is just I anticipate it being about 15 minutes. Is kind of what I.
Yeah,
I think
you're gonna bring a film camera, an old hand camera, separate device, or are you gonna just use a phone?
I'm just gonna use my phone. Katie, okay. Katie's traveling, so she won't be able to be there. So,
wow.
I gotta get at least a little bit of a video for her.
Yeah, there's a famous office scene in The Office when Pam botches the filming, and it happens while she and Jim are kind of on the rocks a little bit. So make sure you don't botch it.
Oh no! Thankfully, we're not on the rocks, so if I botch it, I think it's okay.
Okay, good. All right. Well, Marissa Lauren 104 says she always listens after the fact because she's a teacher, but today she's homesick, so I can listen live.
Oh right. I mean, not good that you're homesick, I guess, but
kind of is though.
Welcome.
I think on a given day, I'd rather be home and sick than healthy and at work.
Oh man, that's not good, man. No. You hate this so much that you'd rather be sick all the time?
I'm more thinking back to my employee days of the jobs that I had and school. Okay. All right, I would always choose a sick day over a healthy work day. That's true now. Now that I have a family and stuff and just busy all the time, I really hate being sick. It's terrible.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, good. Well, I had an interesting morning, Doug. I woke up at 6 a.m., not to any kind of alarm, but to the sound of an explosion and the house shaking.
Oh, wow. What?
Yeah. I thought, my first thought was that a plane must have exploded overhead because planes always fly over us. We live sort of near the airport.
Yikes.
Not that close, but 20 minutes by car away. So it wasn't that. I went on Twitter. Nobody was talking about anything. Tried the Charlotte hashtag, see if there was any kind of, bomb that went off or something. Nothing. Internet was still working. So I thought this is really weird. Everyone in our neighborhood on Facebook said they heard it. It was shaking. They claimed their Ring cameras on their front doorbells caught flashes of light at that moment. An Uber driver said the earth shook under him. Anyway, it turns out 3 hours later came out the report that it was a 2.1 magnitude earthquake that hit.
Really?
Yeah, I know.
No way.
Yeah, and apparently these shallow quakes like that often produce a boom because the sound waves can actually escape the Earth's surface, whereas if they're a deeper, stronger earthquake, the sound doesn't reach that far. So they're silent.
So where does the flashes of lights come from?
I think that was made up. I think people, two people said it, I think. And I think people just start fitting stories to things, and they looked at their camera. Maybe they found some instance when
a car was driving by or whatever.
Right, exactly. No, it's not certain it's that. The weather person who said it was an earthquake said it could have been like a rock quarry blast or something that they did. But it would be weird they would do that at 6 a.m. And if they did, then it registered on the earthquake scale. But then I thought of you because the only other earthquake I've ever experienced in my life was the DC earthquake.
Yeah.
And I think you were in DC at that time, right? Because this was 2011 or something.
That was the only earthquake I actually hid underneath my desk for. Um,
Wow.
like
Were you the
it
only
was
one who
that
ran under
long.
his
It was
desk?
I was in a meeting. I was in a meeting with a couple other people. I guess it was a conference table, and
Uh-huh.
and we were in 8 stories up in a DC office building, and the whole thing is shaking, and we're like, what do we do? And
Yeah.
somebody that was from California who was in there, she was like, I think you should get on. We should get under the table. Like it was a long enough earthquake that we could have this conversation and then get underneath the table.
Right.
And
Wow.
yeah, it was a big one. But I've been in a couple actually, several
Oh, yeah?
in South America. When I lived in Chile, there were a
Hmm.
couple, and I was. Do you remember there was a huge one in Peru? This would have been, I don't know, 15 years ago. It's probably not, but there was a big one in Peru that unfortunately a lot of people died from. And I was in Peru at the time, so been in a few.
Yeah.
They're scary though. They're real scary. And what's weird about them is that they like last long enough to where you can react.
Right. Right. I don't know how long ours lasted because I woke up during the shaking and it was only 2 seconds that I felt, but maybe it was shaking before that. But yeah, it was weird. It was just scary that no one was saying anything about what it was, and I was like, "What is going on?"
Yeah.
It was just weird. But
Wow.
anyway,
Well, that is an eventful morning.
yeah. So no matter what I try to do to get a good sleep, I can't. It's like if it's not the cat
The
coming,
universe is.
I thought we solved the cat problem by setting her feeder to go off at a different time and all this. That was solved yesterday, and then now we get an earthquake the next morning. So I'm just not meant to go to bed late and then wake up late somehow.
Maybe you should just become an early morning person.
I can't. I don't think I can. My 23andMe says that I'm designed genetically to wake up at
you're one of those people.
7:37 or something like that. So I cannot be a morning
7:37. It gives you an exact time that you're supposed to wake up.
Yeah.
Really?
Mhm. I don't know how to do it. I mean, they must have some bunch of data set and they
Is
just
that
fit
some
it
of
to
that
a-
nature
fit it to a line.
science?
Yeah, perhaps. No, I think it's legit.
Okay. All right. Oh, speaking of nature science, Katie listened to yesterday's episode and was like, "Do not buy me any of those gifts. Those were all terrible
No.
gift ideas." She was like, "The PJ idea, like I like PJs, but not $27 PJs from Walmart. Like, come on, you can do
Right.
better than that."
Well, that's actually kind of expensive. I remember the old Navy PJs used to be $5 for those long pants. That's the only PJ pants I've ever owned, I think.
No, she
yeah,
gave
I guess
the whole thing a thumbs down.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it was a weird list. I kind of like the ideas, and I think that's the problem with it. Really, is they all seem like kind of fun things for me, and that's not generally the right thing to get a mother. Anyway, let's see what else is going on. Not too much. Someone asked me for the chorizo recipe that I make at home, and I'm gonna post that in the Discord. So get over there in Discord. It's nomadeathlete.com/Discord. What more reason do you need than I'm gonna post a vegan chorizo recipe that I have adapted and tweaked through the years. And I made some good stuff with it yesterday because we have all this extra chorizo that I made for my daughter's birthday with her. She has this stew that she really likes, but we have all those extra. So yesterday I found a tapa recipe that was green beans and chorizo. Of course, it was for the real thing, so I just adapted it. It called for heavy cream. I used some almond milk, a little bit of Miyoko's butter, and it was delicious. It was a great thing. And then I did a pasta, one that I've made before. It's just a Spanish pasta dish, and I don't know if it's authentic at all. It's just a pasta dish that has some smoked paprika in the sauce, which Doug, you could make at home since I said you some smoked paprika.
That sounds good. Yeah.
But you also need some sort of chorizo substitute. You won't have that, but you could buy it. Although it's hard to get the Spanish chorizo. Yeah. And it had some red bell peppers and things. So that was pretty good. It was a nice little dinner on a Thursday night to have a 2-course meal.
Yeah. I had tacos.
Of course you did.
Taco Billy. Bought tacos.
Taco Billy, not Taco Belly. Sound a little like that. And if you wouldn't have been familiar with Taco Billy, like I am, then yeah. So they have a Black Mountain look. Taco Billy has they have an Asheville location, right? At West Asheville. Now they have a second one in Black Mountain.
They have a second one in Black Mountain. Yeah.
That place, I think. Now maybe I'm thinking of Voodoo Donuts, which was over there. Did they have no vegan options in Asheville, the Taco Billy, or do they have a few?
I don't know about the one in in Asheville, but the one in Black Mountain has 2, and then you can build your own. Okay. But they have 2 that are like pre-made vegan tacos, and they're delicious. Nice. I mean, they're really good. Yeah.
And you still get fired up when you have tacos out, even though you always have it at home. It's still just like a good thing. You don't it doesn't lose its specialness.
No, because they're different. They like plantain tortillas and I don't know, different ingredients and different cremas, like vegan cashew
Right.
cremas and
Yeah,
stuff.
that's true.
So yeah.
Okay,
Oh, I
good.
get fired up for a taco, whether it's
No matter
at home, in the car, at the restaurant, you name it.
Well, I got sick of tacos from going to Taco Bell so much. So I don't.
Well,
but I guess
that's no. See, that's the difference. That you got sick of Taco Bell. You didn't get sick of tacos.
Right. We haven't talked about Taco Bell much, so I haven't played the Taco Bell ding. Was that loud enough? There we go. I haven't been using the sound machine very much. I need to get back on the sound machine game. I've really been. It's always out of power. Okay, so let's see. That's that. You had your little band night thing that you do. Went out.
My cute little band night thing.
Yep. Okay, good.
We played our little instruments. We went to we got tacos, got drinks. Didn't end up playing chess again, which is unfortunate. I was really looking forward to a game of chess, but yeah, that's the way things go, you know.
It is. Okay, Kate Rivercat says, I saw an inflatable hot tub at the grocery store yesterday, but it was $1,000. That might be the most expensive grocery store item I've ever seen. I've seen like backyard patio furniture there for maybe $400 to $600, but that's kind of crazy. Wonder who would just get that at the grocery store.
Right?
I guess last minute kind of party. You're like, oh, that'd be great.
Would you trust a grocery store hot tub though? I mean, I don't know why that's any different than like Target. I don't know why a grocery store would carry a less respectable inflatable hot tub than,
well, they
than
do.
Like
I think they have like their patio furniture is never really that nice. It just looks junky.
I wouldn't get a inflatable hot tub.
You could end up with all your guests on the ground on a deflated hot tub and water all over your party area.
That's true. That's true. Maybe the thermometer would be all out of whack and you'd be like scorched out of the hot tub or.
Yeah, you're right. That is a risk. Unknown risks. All right. So what time do you have to go today, Doug? 11:15?
11:15 would be my ideal time, yeah.
Okay.
11:20. I can push 11:20.
Okay. We'll make sure that we're done by then. All right. And then one more thing. Marissa says she's seen truffles at Wegmans literally under lock and key for hundreds of dollars an ounce. Speaking of expensive grocery items. Yeah, I believe that. Those things are super expensive. I'm actually surprised Wegmans sells them just because their shelf life is so short.
But Weggies, man, Wegmans has all the good stuff.
Yeah, I know, but like those things, you're supposed to eat them within like 3 days or something. I don't know how many. Yeah, wow. That seems like quite a risk for them to take to stock that. But who knows? I don't know that much about truffles. Okay, so let's get to our stuff today. We got an interesting little weather report. Someone suggested we call it the weather report again. A longtime fan.
Yeah, he's here.
Who wrote?
Trail Running Tortoise.
Okay, I don't know why I thought it was a girl. Yeah, okay. And also said, don't talk about alcohol anymore. No one wants to talk about alcohol, which is fair. But I also think every time we talk about alcohol, we're talking about trying to drink less alcohol.
Yes.
Almost always. So we're not really saying, hey, alcohol's awesome, go get it. But I understand. I do understand. We do talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Okay, let's jump in then with what we got. Here we go. Friday, May 12th, your plant-based morning show, Plant Slant Headlines Weather Report. Sodexo, Doug, which is the college campus catering company. I guess they would be called that. We talked a few weeks ago about their planning to make their menus 50% plant-based by 2025 in order to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. That's a pretty ambitious goal, in my opinion. Well, they have conducted a new study with the help of some Boston University researchers, I guess, who did the study at 3 universities, Boston College, and they did them at Tulane, Lehigh, and Rensselaer Polytech Institute. So I thought that was weird. I was like, it's weird that they didn't want to do the study at their own college. They said, we'll do it at these other places. But what they did, they found that 81% of college students take the plant-based option when it is presented as the default. We have seen this happening in New York City hospitals, and a lot of people stick with that plant-based option. It's not that they can't have the meat option. It's just suggested first. And if they don't make any changes, they'll get the plant-based one, which to me is a great thing for people's health in the hospitals. Anyway, the studies, what they did, they put these pairs of dishes, 8 different pairs of dishes, one meat-based, one plant-based, throughout 35 different lunch periods across these 3 universities. And on plant default day, the plant-based dish was presented as the only option, but they could request the meat one if they wanted. And as I said, 81% of the kids took the plant-based option in that case. And further, a large number of them, I don't have the thing right in front of me, they said that it actually increased the satisfaction levels of the people who had the plant-based meal for some reason. I guess when it was the default, they just took it. They were happy to eat it. If they happened to choose it, I guess they'd be a little bit lower. I don't know why that would be. But
wait, hold on. I don't understand. That same meal presented to at 2 different times. It was you increase satisfaction if it was the default instead of you choosing it. Is that
right? The people who had it as the default option, they
liked it better than the
rated it
people
more
who
highly.
Huh?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So anyway, that's kind of cool. I mean,
this is cool. It's very cool.
The fact that this kind of research is being done, it doesn't mean, I don't know. I mean, there's still debate over whether that type of manipulation, some would call it, is the right way to do things. Whether you should push people in a direction that's sort of good for the environment or good for the person or whatever, rather than making the choice a neutral one for them.
Yeah.
So there's all kinds of controversy, obviously there, but this is a big study. Another study, this one from Veg News, that one too. Veg News pointed me to the original. But this one, they said children will eat significantly more fruits and vegetables if they stay at the dinner table for only 10 minutes longer than usual, 30 minutes in total, according to a new study in Journal of the American Medical Association Network Open. 50 pairs of parents, 50 children participated in the study. Average age of the children was 8 and the parents 43, equal number of boys and girls. And they were served a typical German dinner with sliced bread, cold cuts, and cheese, as well as fruits and vegetables cut into bite-sized pieces. And so what they found is 10 extra minutes at the table meant the kids filled up on like the high-calorie sort of food. And then in those final minutes, while they were forced to stay at the table, they just sort of picked at the bite-sized fruits and vegetables and ended up eating an average of 7 additional pieces, or about 1 apple's worth of extra fruits and vegetables. And the most interesting part is that in this case, unlike previous studies, the kids did not end up eating more of everything. They just ate more of the good stuff. So that's the interesting thing, because like one of the criticisms I've heard about the Western way of eating is that we tend to just sit at the table and like wait until the plate is empty, or wait until the TV show is done. Like we'll just sit there and I think the longer we sit there, the better, rather than like just kind of stopping when you reach a certain fullness as someone who's more kind of tuned into their body, or it may be in different cultures. Specifically, I know this is one of the Blue Zone's principles, is eat to your 80% full. Mm-hmm. So it's not about being more mindful about your fullness. It's about being at the table longer, taking in more food. So I don't actually know if this is a great positive thing to do. But if it's true that it doesn't make you eat the other stuff, then I guess maybe it is.
Yeah, I mean, at that age though, well, I mean, I guess it's up to the parent, right, to regulate how much of the bad stuff is on there versus the good stuff, and they eat all the, or not bad stuff, but the calorie dense stuff. Eat all that stuff first, then if as long as it's not too much, as long as you're giving them the amount that like would be okay for them to eat, and then they start picking out all the good stuff, then I think that's okay.
Yeah, I think that's right. It takes that bit of nuance though. Like we've had this question before in different contexts. Like when you eat a whole lot of food and just don't feel that good because you ate a lot of food, like let's say you're out at a brewery and you get a bunch of tater tots and junky food and beer and whatever, and then you come home, like, is it good for you to eat a vegetable or sort of a normal, like, should you force, not force, but should you get yourself to eat that extra food, or have you already had your fill of calories for the day and you're better off just letting your body digest those calories and be done? And so this it makes me ask that a little bit, right? If the kids are overeating to begin with, which unfortunately a whole lot of kids these days are, is it good to have them stay there longer and eat more food, even if that food is healthy? And I think probably it is, because the ones who are overeating probably aren't getting a lot of fruits and vegetables.
Right.
So, probably with kids, it's different than adults, but I don't know. I just wanted to see.
But I mean, I think like if they've had their calories, but you give them low calorie foods that are nutrient rich, but low in calorie and high in fiber, that kind of stuff, I think would probably be good for them. They're good for their digestion and good for their health, right?
I think you're
not really be a huge increase in calories.
That is right. I think you're right. Even with the fruits, it's probably not going to be easy to take in a whole lot of extra calories. So I think it's a pretty safe thing. And finally, Alaska Airlines announced it has added a larger variety of plant-based meal options to its first-class menus, including a just egg frittata, tofu wrap, and white bean chili, along with a new salad. which means
Right.
for the 5 vegans each year who fly an Alaska Airlines flight and sit in first class, you got that extra option now. So enjoy.
I mean,
Have you ever seen an Alaska Airlines fare listed in any flight search you've ever done? Has that been an option for you to fly?
yes.
Really?
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
where? Like around the U.S.?
Like San Francisco or something. I mean, like, yeah, out like Northwest. Alaska Airlines flies outside of just Alaska.
Okay.
Hmm.
They must not have many East Coast flights because I never ever see.
Oh no, I don't think they do anything really on the East Coast. Maybe some
Well,
cross
have you
continental
flown
stuff.
around out west before, like from one
Yeah, I
end of
don't
the
know.
city to
I
another?
don't know. I have seen it. I know that. Um, has a little green AA.
Oh, okay.
Says
Apparently,
Alaska.
they're the fifth biggest airline in the country, so it's not
Mhm.
nothing. I've
But
never heard of it.
I've never flown first class on Alaska Airline.
No. Okay. Well, I know you like just eggs, so if you ever
I do.
find occasion to do that, just pay up
first class
for that
just to
extra
get that
$2,000 just to
frittata.
get that just egg. Yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be great.
worth it for
Yeah.
sure.
Yep. All right. Well, that is our weather report. Short one today, I guess. A little debate though about research.
Here we go. Kate Rivercat says, "I'm flying from Orlando to Portland on Alaska
Oh, there you
next
go.
week."
So from Orlando. So that's
Yeah,
East Coast.
there you go.
Wow.
Hey, I want to call something out about the first one, the Stexo one.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, when we talked about this a few weeks ago, you were pretty skeptical that Sodexo had any good intentions in this.
Yeah, you're right. I was.
50%
I
pledge.
just figured it was a profit thing. I figured
Mhm.
the plant-based food was cheaper for them, and that's why they wanted more people to eat it.
Do you still feel that way?
Now that they've done a study,
Yeah.
I think it's really good that they're doing this. As I saw that this research was being done and using university, and they weren't like I was a little thinking that they were like the ones who did the study. And I was like, well, what do they know about doing studies? But no, it was these other groups, including the researchers from Boston College, that did it. So I think it's a legit study. And I mean, I think it's great that like that kind of energy, right, and effort is going into this because no one knew this before. So even if it is driven by profit, I don't care. Like that's great. I think if profit makes people the invisible hand, if it makes them do good things for everybody, which it doesn't always, then it's great. So no, I have no idea what their actual motivation is.
But you're okay with it. You're less. I don't know. You just seemed a little down on Sodexo last time. So.
No, I really wasn't. I think what I was down on was like because I gave the example of hotel chains that couch their thing about saving water. They'll say, "Oh, be good to the environment. Leave your towel hanging so that we don't wash it." And like, it's not about the environment. It's about the hotel not having to do as much wash.
Right.
And I just think it's just hard for me to, pretend that doesn't exist everywhere. But there's another sort of profit motivation that could be here. So Sodexo, if they have really great climate greenhouse emission numbers, colleges and prospective college students, they definitely will care about those things, right? They want to go to an eco-friendly university. Mm-hmm. So if then the university that hires Sodexo can boast that about their dining, they're going to make more money, right? And Sodexo will make more money by having more clients. So like surely it's probably profit driven a lot, but I'm not down. I think it's fine. I don't think it's bad.
Good.
And I do think I read somewhere, maybe it was a Veg News article about this, that people believe that that college universities are like the big time lever for changing the way people eat long term, because the kids are forming their eating habits. They're on their own for the first time.
Yeah, they're independent.
And if they can consider themselves healthy eaters or eco-conscious eaters, that's an identity that might stay for a long time, and then they raise a family that way.
Interesting. I eat nothing like I ate in college, but I'm sure that there was some influence there.
Yeah, I started eating healthily in college for the first time. Like I hadn't really, my family had made little efforts here and there when it was turned out we had high cholesterol or whatever was found out, but like just mostly junk food. But then when I got to do it on my own, I got into fitness and started eating healthy. And that really was the beginning of eating healthy. So it lasted.
I did eat a lot of tacos in college. So maybe there is some sort of link.
You just said you eat nothing like what you ate in college.
I know. I'm taking it back. They were like carne asada tacos and like smothered in cheese, but they were tacos nonetheless.
I didn't eat one taco in college, and we went. Well, I guess no. You came down to Boone. I was in your hometown of Harrisonburg. I can't think of one taco I ate in college.
Even like in the cafeteria, they didn't have like burrito night or taco night.
Burritos. There was definitely burritos.
Okay. Every Tuesday. I mean, Taco Tuesday. Every Tuesday, I'd go to Boone Saloon and get tacos.
Yeah. I did make tacos on Taco Tuesday a lot. Once I moved off campus, I started cooking some terrible meals, but I did. All right. So that's that. So anyway, we talked yesterday about the article we wanted to get to today. It's by Karina Inkster, who I have since done some research on. Someone in our audience yesterday said that she was the host of, I think it's the No Bullshit Vegan podcast. She's a personal trainer, fitness kind of person, and she is the author of the Vegan Athlete book, which I don't know if, I think that came out a little before the Plant-Based Athlete. It probably came out later. But anyway, she's the author of that book, and I don't know much about it. Robert Cheek, my co-author on Plant-Based Athlete, may have written the foreword for the Vegan Athlete because, yeah, he did. He's listed on Amazon as the foreword writer. So anyway, check out her book because I think this article is a good one. It came out February 2nd, 2021. So it did beat the Plant-Based Athlete to the market by a few months, by 3 or 4 months. Way to go, Karina. Okay, so let's get into her article here. The article is Vegan Strength Training. Don't believe these 5 common myths. We're setting the record straight on protein supplements and muscle building misconceptions. This is from Veg News, and it's one of my favorite Veg News articles that I've read in a long time. So congratulations, everyone, because I know that is such a tremendous honor for you to get. And that's what you aim for with all these articles, is to please me. So let's get into her myths here. Number one, enough calories equals enough protein.
Ooh.
And this is like a level 5 myth, right? Because like it first started out like you're not getting enough protein on your plant-based diet. And then that was a myth because people said, no, if you're taking in enough calories, it's impossible to be protein deficient, right? If you're not malnourished, there aren't cases of protein deficiency in any kind of number that actually matters. So now that we're going beyond and we're busting that myth, which busted the previous myth, and saying that no, it's not true that if you get enough calories, you get enough protein. It might be true for an inactive person, but Karina points out here that most recommendations for vegan strength athletes range between 1.8 and 2.7 grams of protein per kilo of body weight per day. That's compared to the 0.8 grams of protein per kilo of body weight per day, which comes out, by the way, for pounds to like 0.36 or something like that. So she's saying get 2 or 3 times that much. And her example is if you're a 150-pound strength athlete, you'll need between 122 and 184 grams of protein per day. Very high, kind of in line with Peter Attia's number, saying 3x the government guideline is probably appropriate. I mean, this strikes me as a little bit high. I don't think the recommendations I've seen are quite that high. I'd say the lower end of her range here, which she said 1.8 grams per kilo per day, that's about the high end of the range that I've typically seen. She's talking specifically about strength athletes, so maybe that's different. But I pretty much agreed upon that because plant proteins have lower bioavailability, lower protein digestibility scores in general, you need to up any kind of guideline you're following by about 10% just to overcome that. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. To me, 1.2 to 1.8, that seems like reasonable grams of protein per kilo of body weight per day. So anyway, here's her sample, like to get that 150-pound athlete their protein for the day, which is between 122 and 184 grams. She said a day's worth of protein may include a tofu scramble with seitan strips for breakfast. It's already a high protein breakfast.
Yeah. Wow. Tofu and seitan.
That has more than the apple that I eat for my breakfast most days.
A little bit, maybe.
Yeah. A smoothie made with hemp hearts, chia, and flax seeds. Ooh. That's great. Great aside from the protein. It's just good to get all those seeds. And protein powder for a snack. Oh, sorry. A smoothie made with hemp hearts, chia, and flax seeds, and protein powder for a snack. Okay. A lunch of edamame pasta with tomato sauce and veggie ground round. So that's your pasta bolognese you made last night, Doug. Except it's lunch. And it's edamame noodles are the pasta. And a black bean burrito for dinner. So, Doug, this is they're speaking your language now.
Yeah. I mean, can eat all that.
That's a ton of protein.
It's a lot of food. a lot of heavy food. But it all sounds kind of good. I don't know. I've never had hemp hearts in a smoothie before.
I don't really use hemp hearts almost ever anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just, it's possible that it's that good. Again, this is a strength athlete. This is talking, I think, about performance. It's not longevity. If you look at Walter Longo, he's saying get that 0.8 number, the much lower number for living as long as you can until you're 65 or 70, then get much more. But that's about 1/3 of a gram per pound of body weight per day.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I'd be afraid to do that for long term. This one. Now plant proteins definitely are not as harmful as animal proteins when it comes to these longevity studies and the mortality rates and things like that. So plant protein definitely gives you a good safety buffer there. So I'm not saying these are dangerous recommendations by any means, but I don't know. That's just a whole lot.
It is a lot. Like you said, I'm sure it's geared towards a strength athlete who's trying to build muscle. But is it fair to say that this myth is busted?
Busted. I need a thing. I'm gonna look for one while we do this. All right. Myth number 2. Eating the same amount of food as when you were non-vegan will supply all the calories you need. And we took a long time on that first one, so we'll make this one shorter. And this is right on to me. When she's saying the same amount of food, she means by weight or perhaps by volume. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that, of course, is the calorie density argument. Plant-based foods are very dense in nutrients, but they're not dense in calories. So if you just fill up your stomach, whether by weight or by volume, with the same amount as you did before, you're not going to be taking in nearly as many calories, maybe 25% less. I don't know. So you're going to need to either fill yourself up way more at mealtime or have more meals, more snacks or whatever, if you want to not lose that weight. Some people do want to lose the weight, so it's a good thing, but a lot of athletes don't. So,
but also energy. I mean, you hear reports about people going plant-based and losing a lot of their energy and their energy levels plummeting and just all kinds of stuff like that. I think a lot of it has to do with calories and calorie density, making sure that you're getting enough to fuel your lifestyle.
Yeah, love it. That myth.
Busted.
That's apparently a Grand Theft Auto clip. But here's Grand Theft Auto 5. Whoops. Yeah, this is the one I know because we just got Grand Theft Auto 5 recently. When you get busted, that's what you hear. You're in the slammer, basically.
It's hard to tell what that is. It just sounds kind of loud.
I think it's a jail door shutting.
Oh, okay.
All right. Number 3, you can rely solely on supplements for daily protein. Now, does anyone believe that myth? Maybe some people do. There's people who just eat supplements and that's all they eat for all their calories. They think they just eat bioengineered food and they're just going to be a bionic person and that's what they'll do.
I mean, maybe people just like eat, like as far as increasing their protein. If they look at that protein source, those protein numbers, then they're like, I don't know, I'll just eat some fruit and stuff like that, and then I'll just have protein smoothies all day, every day.
Yeah, right. I think there are people who do that for sure because, like you said, a lot of plant-based foods just don't have a lot, so you just sort of maybe just give up on getting it from food. I don't really like her reasoning on this one. Even I think it's true. Like it's better not to rely just on supplements. There's a lot of good reasons to eat whole food because it's going to help you absorb whatever's in that food better. That's the main reason. And your body's just going to handle it, more like your body's evolved over hundreds of thousands of years to handle food. Whereas if it's anything kind of high tech, it's going to be weird. So she says that the key to a healthy diet is a varied diet, which is not, I don't know. A lot of the Blue Zone's long-term research does not show that that's the case. They eat relatively few foods. And only by eating a variety of foods can you obtain the wide range of amino acids you need to thrive. But see, that's not really true because if you get a protein powder that has the complete amino acid profile, like complement protein and many others, to be fair, there are others that have that as well. No. I think even soy protein is a complete protein on its own.
Stop.
Okay. But we do have high levels of leucine and lysine in ours, which she mentions. Right. There you go. She mentions, and those are hard to get on plant-based diets. And that's another thing about that kind of busts the calories equals enough protein myth in its own way, that even if you're getting enough protein, you're not necessarily getting enough of all the amino acids. So the rule I've heard is if you're getting enough leucine and lysine, because they're kind of hard to come by, then you're getting enough protein almost by default, right? If you're getting enough of those, you're going to be getting the other stuff too. So anyway, I guess for me, it doesn't seem like the most sound logic. because you could look at the amino acid profile of your protein powder and you could not eat a variety of foods and still get the wide range of amino acids. But if you don't want to do that, and I said before, there's lots of reasons not to do that, then I get it. So anyway, she mentions pumpkin seeds and seaweed are high in leucine, oats are high in tryptophan, sunflower seeds are high in methionine. I don't really know that one, but it's necessary for building cartilage. A protein shake and veggies diet is not going to provide you with enough amino acid variety, so make sure you eat a range of different protein sources. There you go. I told you bodybuilders like that protein and veggies diet. Protein powder and veggies is how they keep the fat off.
Lori Stevens, the CHF dietitian, says that I guess you could get all your protein. I'm filling in some blanks here. I guess you could get all your protein from supplements, but it's not really ideal, especially for your gut microbiome. So she's making a different argument than the amino acid argument. But I think that I am more drawn to her argument than I am the one in the article here.
Yeah, right. There's all kinds of good health reasons that don't involve muscle building to get your protein from whole foods, as well as supplements if you want to get that extra amount. But I don't know. For me, amino acid variety is not the reason. But anyway, that myth nonetheless has been busted. Number 4, you can get all the nutrients you need from food alone. So this is sort of the opposite of the other one. So it was saying get all the protein you need from supplements alone. Can't do that. Now she's saying this myth is you can get all the nutrients you need from food alone. Of course, you can't do that. We know that. We run a supplement company. We exist. We make money. We feed our families by giving you nutrients that you can't get from food alone. And those are, for me, B12, D, and DHA EPA, which she omits from here. I'm kind of surprised by. She mentions, it's okay. She's talking to strength athletes. It's a little different. She says B12, of course, non-negotiable. You have to get that one if you're going to be vegan. And she mentions also vitamin D and creatine. Creatine's a little bit, I don't know. More recently, I'm seeing people recommend it for plant-based people just because it's not really present. It's not present in plant-based foods. Your body still makes some, but it doesn't make that much. I don't know. It's just like for the longest time, it seemed like the logical supplement for a vegan athlete to take, but not many vegan athletes were talking about it for some reason. I mean, a lot of athletes were, but not vegan athletes specifically. So anyway, she says vitamin D and creatine, which I agree with. Good recommendations there. I would add DHA and EPA, and I'd go take Complement.
Yeah.
Complement Essential.
So is it official?
Does it sound like it's official, Doug?
It sounds official to me.
Yeah, busted. All right. And number 5, last one. It's more difficult to gain muscle and strength as a vegan. So, okay. She mentions the studies here, and they're coming out recently, which is great. The one we talked about the most recently was this mycoprotein one. I think Quorn, QUORN, the brand that's been making mycoprotein chicken nuggets since like, I don't know, long time, 10 years, way before it became.
Before it's cool.
Yeah, now it's something the new hot thing. And Meaty Foods and Rachel Ray, everybody's jumping onto the mycoprotein train. But anyway, they did a study. They showed that there was not a difference between. I don't think either group did better, or at least significantly better between the animal protein and this mycoprotein. Right. And we've seen other studies like it showing basically the same. Doesn't say outperforms, just says the same muscle growth. If you still have to get your amino acid profile, obviously you still need to take some precautions.
Protein numbers, sure, yeah.
Yeah, it's not like it's just you don't have to do anything, but yeah, you can totally build muscle on a plant-based diet, and it's good that we can bust that myth. Now, is it more difficult? I think for me, like she mentioned how hard it is to get the calories, or that's a challenge. You have to get enough calories, and if you're not getting enough calories, then it is more difficult, right? It just is, right? That's how that math works out. You have to get in a whole lot of calories to put on muscle, at least in my experience, especially if you're like a hard gainer, which in the old days, I surely was that. But I had some success putting on muscle even after I was vegan. And more recently, as I've said before, now that I'm older, it's like way easier. I can just gain muscle, and you gain some fat too, but gaining weight is much less of a problem for me than it used to be before. Surely just because metabolism slows down.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give this one a half bust. Not a full bust, because I think that.
See how quickly I muted it?
Yeah, that was good. Because the whole article is really about how you got to do more things to hit your numbers, right? To hit your nutrient numbers. So while I think that she's right that and the studies are showing that there's no difference between plant protein and animal protein for muscle gain and muscle mass development or whatever. You have to put in some more work. It is a little bit more difficult to get enough calories, get enough protein.
I think if you're going to mince words, you're correct, right? It's more difficult in that it requires more effort, more planning, more work on your part.
Right.
But if you're doing all that, you're not hindered in some way.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right.
So, fair assessment. Half busted on that one.
Half busted.
Anyway, I love this article. I think this is a great job.
Absolutely.
And by the way, here's Karina's bio. Vegan since 2003, Karina Inkster, MA, PTS, is a health and fitness coach, author of 3 books, and host of the No BS Vegan podcast. So I didn't know she'd written 3 books, but that's even better. So there you go.
20-year vegan. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, that is really impressive. So I will check out the No BS Vegan podcast, and I will report back at some point. Frequently bought together: Vegan Athlete, No Meat Athlete Cookbook, and the Plant-Based Athlete. So head over to Amazon.com, buy all 3, and supporting Karina.
Yeah, just Karina. That's funny, man. That's a lot of Vegan Athlete books right there.
They're starting to be a lot. Aisha says, "I'm here for microprotein." So Doug, you'll know what that means because you love that saying.
I'm here for Aisha.
Mr. Jeffrey says, "No more midnight peanut butter for Matt." Yep. See, I don't have to do that anymore. Don't have to set the alarm to get up and make a peanut butter sandwich. I don't know why I didn't make the sandwich ahead of time, set the alarm, get up and eat it, and then get back to bed soon. That's when I was putting the pillow in the bathtub at college, though. So I had lots of ideas that were not my best.
Maybe not the smartest time of your life.
No. All right. Well, we're going to go here, but I did have another article that I found as I was looking at the protein things here. I said, you know what? I'm going to look up this thing that I have this maybe irrational fear about, which is that the precision fermented animal-free whey protein I've been using, which of course is, has no animal inputs. They use yeast and which are the microbes to ferment whatever their inputs are. And I don't know what those are. And that's kind of part of the problem. And they make what they say molecularly equivalent product, right? So they're making whey protein, but not from any animals. I said, I don't know. I'm a little worried about like the long-term, the unknown risks of this stuff. Like we just don't know. It turns out I found this. It said it's from fooddive.com. It's from June of last year. Why precision fermentation is in the non-GMO project's crosshairs. And it says the group dedicated June to educating consumers about the dangers of what it called synbio dairy, using genetically modified cells to create proteins identical to those in cow-produced milk. So for whatever reason, this stuff is not considered GMO by whatever the official standards are. Mm-hmm. It has been recognized as safe in Israel. Remilk is the brand that has. But they're saying the yeast, the microbes that make it, those are GMO. And then they make this stuff. So you can't actually find in the molecule evidence of genetic modification, but it was made in this very unnatural kind of way. And anyway, so they mentioned a lot of things. We'll get into it at a later date because I do want to get to it. But I don't know. Today I didn't do it yet, but I'm ready to cancel my subscription to that stuff. I figured I gotta be consistent with my afraid of unknown risk things. And then I thought if I do this, well then I'm afraid of GMOs. Then I'm in the non-GMO camp. And I always thought that I wasn't because I haven't seen enough science to show any kind of problem. But then I remembered that evidence or absence of evidence is not the same as evidence of absence, right? Of potential health issues. So just because there's been nothing yet, it doesn't, I don't know if we're out of the woods yet. And we can say we're just good to eat GMOs. So I don't know. I understand that it seems like sort of pseudoscientific to be afraid of GMOs to many people. If you look at the mainstream science, it does not say almost anything bad about GMOs.
I was less persuaded by the article. And so I look forward to discussing it next week.
Yeah. You know what? As I went through it, I kind of was too. It was like, there's not a lot of specifics here. It's just the same thing. I guess for me, it was like this validation that there's someone else and someone who, a non-GMO project sounds like a group that thinks about this stuff, that someone else has the same concerns about this as I do. Like, we just don't know much here. So we should probably be a little bit skeptical of it. Yeah. So anyway, like I said, as I always say, I don't really care about tiny risks like this when it's just like a now and then kind of thing, like with the plant-based meats. But this is something that I'm having every single day after my workout. I'm giving to my son every single day. And I think when you build something into your routine like that, it sort of deserves an extra level of skepticism to make sure it's good, because we can have this stuff for 3 years or more And like, then if there's a problem with it, it will be something that we will feel at some point, probably. So I don't know.
I appreciate that for sure.
All right, good. Well, that does it then, Doug. You got to get yourself to the theater, get yourself a good seat.
I do. Yep. Hope everybody has a great weekend.
Will you put some of the video up in Discord of this production? Is
Yeah,
that another benefit people can get by going over there?
Yeah, that's right. Go to nomeathlete.com/Discord. You can see a video of the production. I think that's legal, right?
I don't know if it is. I probably wouldn't do that, actually.
Yeah. Okay. But as Mr. Jeffrey says, I am ever so politely trying to wrap up here. So I'm gonna say goodnight, say goodbye, good morning. Have a great weekend.
Sounds good. Have a fun time. We will be back on Monday.
All right. Sounds great, everybody.